if you have a small herd of cattle, say 20, how would you divide up a round bale in different paddocks, assuming one round bale would be more than enough for 20 head for one day? Okay, this is a good question. We can do this math out for you right here, and we can figure out exactly how much hay your animals are going to need. But then we can also answer the second piece of that question, which is relatively simple. But so the rule of thumb is that an animal needs, and we're talking about cattle, needs 3% of its body weight in feed every day in order to just maintain condition. So that's the bare minimum that they need to have. So if it's a 1,000-pound animal, 3% of its body weight, I'm going to be relying heavily on you for mental math because I'm terrible, is what, 30 pounds? 30 pounds of hay. So like a 1,000-pound animal needs 30 pounds of hay a day, right? So then all you need to do then is just know how much weight is in your bales. So if it's a 1,200-pound round bale, which is like, we have 5x5s, and you assume that about 20% of that's going to be wasted if you unroll it. So it's a 1,000-pound bale, right? That means that, so a 1,000-pound cow needs 30 pounds of hay, and then you just multiply that up, to the amount of animals that you've got. And if you've got 30 head, right, that's going to be 900 pounds, which is roughly a bale. Yeah. So your 30 head in one day need one bale to maintain. So, but if you only have 20 head, say they're 1,000-pound average weight. If you only have 20 head, 1,000-pound average weight, that's 2,000 pounds. 3% of 2,000 is, 3% of 1,000 is 30, so 3% of 2,000 is
20,000 pounds.
20,000 pounds, yeah. So 3% of 20,000 is 600, I think.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because think about it, like 3% of 1,000 is 30.
Yeah.
3% of 10,000 it'd be 300. And then double that, it would be 600. Yeah, 600. We're rocking and rolling here. There we go.
We excelled in math class.
Yeah, my brother's just going like this right now. But okay, so you need about 600 pounds, which is about half of a bale for your 20 head a day, which means you don't need to unroll a whole bale. So what we do with our bale unroller is we'll unroll about 50%, and then we're able to jack the bale up. And so they only get the 50%, drive your bale on the bale and roller off to wherever you want to drop your bale and roller, unhook it from your four-wheeler or your side-by-side, go home, come back the next day, unroll the other half. The other option that you can do, and this is only if it's it's going to be dry, is as in like no rain or snow or anything, is you could unroll the whole bale and then just divide the paddock right down the middle of the amount that you unrolled. And so they only get access to half, and then the next day they get access to the other half. That saves a lot of time because you just unroll the whole thing, and the next day you just have to unroll a wire. It's almost like a form of bale grazing. I hope that helps. I think that about answers it. Yeah. So you probably need, if you have a 1,200-pound bales, you probably need about a half a bale for those 20 head minimum. So, like, if you want to give them a little more than half,
right,
it probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
That would be just to maintain.
That'd be just to maintain. And the way that Greg sort of figures it for his head, if you calculate it out for the winter, like, he basically wants about one bale per animal for the duration of, as like minimum amount of hay he wants to keep in stock for the winter. So, like, if we have 375 head, we need 375 bales minimum. Because over the winter, roughly each animal will eat about a bale. Because when we just say head, that 375 is like everything from tiny little calves that are about 200 pounds to like 1,100, 1,200 pound cows that are like the biggest ones that Greg has, and everything in between. So you really want to do it by, like if you really want to get specific, you got to get animal units and then just go off of that. So animal units are based on 1,000 pounds, like, so 1,000-pound animal. So like one 1,000-pound cow is one animal unit. One 1,200-pound cow is 1.2 animal units. And so you can just figure that out, how many animal units you've got in your herd, and then do the 3% calculation and go from there. So I hope that helps some people. But what else we got? Anything mathing?
Scroll down.
That's hysterical. Yeah.
That was the last thing.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do a whole Chewing the Cud episode on winter management and how to do calculations for how much feed you're gonna need, things to think about as far as frost-free water tanks and how to deal with that. There's a lot of sort of bits and pieces that come with the winter that are just very unique in comparison to the rest of the year. And obviously it varies, right? Like if you're in Tennessee, your winters are going to be more mild than they are here. And if you're in Michigan, they're good. Like these winters are more mild than up there, you know? So like, it just, like everything that we talk about, there's always a huge asterisk, which is depending on your current situation. So nothing that we ever say is a blanket statement, almost nothing. There's certain like key principles that are pretty universal, but it's always context dependent. I get comments on YouTube all the time about like, you know, this wouldn't work for that reason, or I've got this many animals, like how much fencing am I going to need for them with this many acres? And it's like, it always depends, you know? So anyway.